collection has grown, so too has my surprise over the creation of certain games. And there is no better example for me than Total Recall. I didn't even know this game was made until about 2 or 3 years ago, and I seriously am surprised that I missed this one, considering that Total Recall happens to be my top 10 favorite movies of all time. So before we get into the game, let's go ahead and talk about the film that it was based off of. Set in the year 2084, a man named Douglas Quaid has a reoccurring dream about being on Mars and becomes interested in getting a memory implant of visiting Mars from a company called Recall, who specializes in providing the memories of a vacation or adventure to alien planets without physically having to go there. His memory package includes a secret agent option to live out his fantasy. During the procedure, things go wrong and he acts out a past memory as the doctors discover someone has already erased his memory. They dump him in a taxi, and from there it seems like the entire world is out to kill him. Throughout the movie, Quaid goes on to discover his real past, assists freedom fighters on Mars, discovers Quado, who is the leader of a rebellion on Mars, who will later help Quaid obtain Total Recall, which will lead him to starting a reactor that will provide an atmosphere to Mars, which an evil bastard named Cohagen has tried to cover up because he'll lose control. There are so many twists that keep you on the edge of your seat, and it's more than just your typical Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, because there's a really compelling story here that people still debate over till this day. Was it all real, or was it just a dream? And I'm not gonna lie, it's not every day that you can say a Schwarzenegger film had so much deep substance to it that it caused you to think. So how do you get a movie like this into a game? Normally I have pretty low expectations for movie-to-game adaptations, but this was created by Interplay, and they're responsible for games like Earthworm Jim, the Fallout series, and even Boogerman. So could this be good? Or are we gonna wish we had our memories erased? Already I have problems with this game and we're not even past the title screen. What music is this? It's so out of place when compared to any of the music from the movie. It's upbeat and it sounds like something from some of the early puzzle games you'd find on Game Boy. I will say, however, Arnold looks pretty spot on for an 8-bit game. The game starts off with a very brief summary of the beginning of the movie. So brief, in fact, that if you never watched the movie, it wouldn't make any kind of sense. Well, this is Arnold. He looks okay, but I don't recall him wearing a green jumpsuit. You only get one attack, and that's your fist, which just so happens to be the fist of God because you can send enemies flying with one punch. BAM, motherfucker! Speaking of enemies, who are all these guys? It seems like they all receive fight training from the Looney Tunes. You have guys that bounce around all over the place, guys that pop out of trash cans, enemies that toss bombs that look like they're straight out of a Tom and Jerry cartoon, and there's literally someone punching through a hole on a fence. At least I hope that's a fist. Like, who would hire a thug like that? That is great news. The more thugs, the merrier. So what's your specialty? I mean, do you use knives or guns or maybe explosives?
No, man. I don't use no guns. I don't use no knives, man. Wanna know what I do? Wanna know what I do? Okay, man. Check this out. I'm going to get a fence, man.
Okay, so we need a fence. Okay.
Okay. Then, man, I'm gonna get a hole cut in that fence, man. You with me?
Alright, so we cut a hole in the fence. Okay, I'm following you. Okay.
Yeah, man. Alright, so we got the fence, man. We got the hole in the fence, man. And then check this out. You ready? Here's the last part, man. When Quaid walks by on the sidewalk, I'm gonna punch you that hole, man. And I'll punch him right in his face, man. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds stupid, actually. Yeah, that's one of the most dumb plans I've ever heard. Yeah, are you idiot? One thing that I find pretty funny about the game is right at the beginning of the first stage, there's a movie theater that's playing the credits to the game, almost as if the programmers thought no one would want to play this piece of game all the way to the end. On top of that, if you watch the credits all the way through, you're rewarded with a free guy, like they knew it was going to feel like a punishment. Regardless of all the faults I have with this game, there are some elements from the film that are noted throughout. Like this guy. He's supposed to be Richter from the movie. I just thought it was another enemy, but you can't fight him. If you touch him, you instantly lose a life. Wait, what? I'll be back? Are you kidding me? That's the catchphrase from the Terminator series. How do you up a line that iconic? Seriously, you couldn't pick a line from Total Recall? I don't even care how out of context it would have been either. Put consider that a divorce.
or come on, Quaid, give these people air, or even I got 5 kids to feed. As out of place as that would have been, it still makes more sense than using a line from Terminator. You don't take catchphrases from other Arnold movies. I mean, if you're aiming to piss fans off, why don't you just put in a line from the documentary Pumping Iron, where Arnold is comparing weightlifting to having an orgasm? Morons. Anyway, once you get to the top, you'll enter the apartment where Lori, your fake wife from the movie, which they don't mention in the game who she is, tries to kill you. Once you get the gun from her, you're relieved to finally be able to shoot something rather than just punch everything. Richter will come in, but you can't kill him. Instead, you have to run out the door he's standing in, and you'll beat the level. How would anyone guess that? Just run toward the guy spraying bullets at you and you win. Next, you're headed to the subway trying to escape just like in the film. They even went to the trouble of recreating a scene where Quaid is going through a security x-ray machine, which is pretty cool, but it's ruined by one thing, that alarm sound. My God, is that painful to listen to? Imagine if you were trying to relax and hearing that brain-piercing sound. Once you escape through the subway, you get a cutscene that's pretty loyal to the movie. They even show Arnold putting the wet towel on his head. Now that's funny. So now we're on a quest to go get the briefcase at the cement factory, which is infested with a bunch of derelicts. Most of them don't do anything to you unless you shoot at them, which for some reason bums give me an itchy trigger finger, so I can't seem to stop killing them. Toward the end, you'll find a really huge bum who throws his hat at you like Oddjob from James Bond. After you kill him, he drops the briefcase and you get your ass to Mars. Yeah, that was unnecessarily long. Once on Mars, it seems that most of your enemies are just either turrets or little flying droid-like mobile turrets. After that, the game takes a swan dive into a pile of shit. It's a driving stage. Where do I begin? The controls are busted. You can't turn, you can only move back and forth or side to side. Your car, if you can call it that, starts up slow and then it gains momentum, but way too quickly, making it easy to crash into things. You'll find yourself shimmying back and forth just trying to fit into some of the narrow spots. You can shoot from your car, but it seems completely pointless because often I never see any of the enemies. Your only challenge here is just getting through the narrow hallways. This is shit. When you make combat for the Atari 2600 look and control better than your driving stage, stop making games! Once that's over, you're fighting Freddy Krueger and an endless supply of Garfields. Makes sense to me. Hey, that's the last resort! That's the dirty club in the movie where the chick with 3 boobs is at! Boobs. Well, not in this game. The iconic club in the movie is now just an area with platforms, kung fu fighting skeletons, and killer frogs. Why am I surprised? After you kill Vinny in the bulldozer, you'll take a short trip through the reactor, and then out of nowhere you're fighting the final boss, Cohagen, which is one of the most mindless, anticlimactic bullshit excuse for an end boss fight I have ever seen. All he does is jump straight up and down like he's on a pogo stick while you shoot the cornflakes out of him.
I'm stunned. And I'm insulted! This is just a stupid little money tree for Interplay to take advantage of a big box office hit. Man, there needs to be some sort of a quality standard.
Not only does the game totally eat on its own merits, but most of the important parts of the movie are missing from the game. Other than the beginning of the game, there's no future mention of Quaid's memory. No further mention of him having Total Recall, which is the point of the whole movie. No Kuato, no Melina, no return of Lori, no end fight with Richter. Instead, what Interplay gave us was a broken down mess of a game.
This also happens to be one of the shortest games I've ever played. I beat this piece of rhinoceros in about 25 minutes. Man, bottom line is just because a movie does well at the box office doesn't mean you should make a game about it. Schindler's List did well at the box office. You don't see anyone making a platforming game out of that. Huh.